Is that a dragon stuffed animal on your floor?
It's actually not a dragon. It's a dragon donkey. It's a donkey. It's from the movie Shrek. You know, when dragon and donkey make babies, it's a donkey. Now I want to show everyone.
I think you have to.
Okay, hold on. Let me grab my donkey really quick.
Donkey. It just sounds like a drunk donkey.
Okay, everyone. This is my donkey. His name is Waffles.
Such a big forehead.
He's so freaking cute. My boyfriend and I were donkey and dragon for Halloween, and
that was your baby?
Yes, actually. But the thing is these Shrek donkey stuffed animals are no longer made anymore. Like you literally, you cannot buy them. So he found one.
Like on eBay?
Yeah, and bought it, which buying a used stuffed animal, it's a little, you don't know where that stuffed animal's been, and in the movie, Donkey says, and in the morning, I'm making waffles. So that's why his name is Waffles.
I sleep with a small stuffed animal, Highland cow.
Wait, Highland, is that a milk brand?
No. It's a type of cow.
It's a type of cow.
Wait, no, it's like the long-haired cows, and they're so cute. You know what I'm talking about.
They look really soft.
And you just want to cuddle with them. But
that's
lately
cute.
I discovered that the same brand that makes this mini one that's like the same size as this guy makes a big one.
Oh my gosh.
It's like the size of my torso.
That's gotta be an expensive stuffed animal then.
Probably. But it does support like animal conservation efforts. So it's a good use of money.
So they're not using real cow hair on the stuffed animals, you're saying?
If they do that for any stuffed animals in any brand, that is insane.
You can put Waffles on your nightstand over there.
Drunky. I'm just going to start calling people that whenever they're drunk. Chin's getting a little drunky tonight.
Hi everyone, welcome back to What They Don't Say. I'm Shannon.
And I'm Lauren.
And we're so happy that you're here.
I want to ask you a question, Shannon. And this question, I don't know how people are going to take it. It could be controversial. I don't know. But I think that it's better to just like outsource it. Let's see what you have to say about this. You and I both, as well as many of our counterparts, and I'm sure many listeners as well, we've all been in some like pretty like toxic relationships, maybe borderline emotionally abusive. And when you go through these relationships, you experience red flags, but maybe it's the first time you've experienced that red flag, so you don't really know what to make of it. Okay. So you kind of ignore it. And you're like, okay, whatever. Yeah, that's like seems like a little bit weird, right, but it's fine.
Right. You like justify it because you like them or you're blinded, whatever.
And you're like trying to give them the benefit of the doubt.
Okay.
Trying to believe that they are a good person. And we've all been there. But after you've experienced quite a few red flags in your lifetime and you get into maybe like a new situation, you're starting to talk to a new person and you start to notice some of these red flags. You're like, that thing that person did, that other person did that too. And then they ended up being a very toxic person in my life.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
What I'm hearing thus far, what I've gathered is you and I and other people in our life have been in toxic relationships, and you or me or the people around us who have been in these situations ignore red flags for whatever reason. And then in future relationships, when those same red flags come up, we start to connect the dots of, oh, I've seen these red flags before. I recognize them. I shouldn't go down this path.
We have used these not so good relationships as learning paths, which is good. But if you're in the situationship and you start to notice these red flags that have led to toxic situations in the past, and you actively decide to ignore those red flags, and then the relationship turns toxic, emotionally abusive, etc., is it your fault?
Okay, I was wondering where the question was. I'm like, okay, yeah, we've gathered data points. Where are we going with this? Okay, so is it your fault if you're in a toxic relationship?
When you've actively ignored red flags that you've experienced in the past that have led to toxic or emotionally abusive relationships. This is so tricky. We always like to say, hey, if you find yourself in a bad situation, that's never your fault. It's always the person who is doing the harm. But we also have to learn how to protect ourselves because that is the world we live in. And so if you ignore red flags, once again, that you know could possibly lead to a bad situation, is it then your fault for being in that bad situation?
Oh, I'm so afraid of getting canceled.
This is a safe space. We're exploring things here. We're not stating facts. We are not talking about legal shit. We do have a certain expectation to ourselves to be able to protect ourselves and look at the situations around us and figure out where harm might come from. And I think that being able to learn from past relationships where you've seen these red flags and then being able to then avoid that in the future is a really important part of that. And you're always going to have like shitty people come into your life here and there. But when you've seen that before and you know this isn't going to be good and you stay.
We're entering the trust tree. That's what my college professors used to say when we would talk about things like race, gender equality, anything along those lines. She would say, we're entering the trust tree. This is a safe space. There is that quote of fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me.
Fool me 3 times. Wait.
I don't know the third one.
Wait,
but
I think it's like fool me once.
Shame on you.
Shame on you. Fool me twice.
Shame on me.
Should we look up this?
Yeah, well, I don't have my phone. You can you look it up really quick.
What happens if you fool me 3 times?
Is that a Google thing?
Yeah.
What happens if you fool me? That's really funny.
It is fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me.
Is this one of those Mandela?
Fool me thrice, you can't get fooled again. What does that mean?
I've never fucking heard that before.
Me neither.
I'm a firm believer that it is not your fault when bad shit happens to you, but it is your responsibility as you age and grow as a human to not let that dumpster fire impact the rest of your life.
Yeah, and when we're talking about this stuff, you know, we're talking about toxic relationships. Maybe it does get a little bit emotionally abusive. We are not talking about like physically abusive relationships where you know that your physical well-being is super threatened or you're stuck in a very bad situation. That's a whole different thing. This is like when you're young, you're in high school, you first start dating, you don't know anything about anything, and you get into a relationship where you're not treated very well because you just don't know otherwise. You haven't filed anything into the cabinet system in your brain for knowing what is good or what is bad, but you learn from that and you understand like what you should be looking out for, and you understand what you should avoid as you are in these relationships and as you get older. And so if you have all those understandings and all that learning, and you are in a situation and you're like, yeah, this is not good, I should walk away. And you have the ability to walk away.
And you don't.
And you don't walk away. It's never your fault if you're treated like shit, but is it your fault if you're staying in that situation?
I do think it is your fault.
Yeah.
And it's a thing of like, I can still have empathy for somebody who's in that situation. I can still feel bad for them. But I do think that if you are choosing to stay and ignore the red flags, and it's not to take away the sense that it's like, it is a very hard thing to break these habits. But at the end of the day, if you are in a relationship with a toxic person and you're recognizing these red flags from previous experiences and you're not doing anything about it, it is a habit. Like, you have built that habit. There are pathways in your brain that have been created from previous experiences. And breaking a habit is hard. It is very challenging. It takes time. It takes intentionality. It takes lots of effort. And I really hate saying that. But I mean, you know that person who's in an unhealthy relationship and they are talking to you about their relationship and you're saying, hey, you've been through this before. Like, you've seen this before. And they're like, oh, I know, but he's so nice or she's so nice and we had a good day. You want to shake them, right? And I feel really bad saying it, but it's an accountability thing. Like, It's so much easier to just be like, oh, the other person is unhealthy and they're bad, which yes, it's true in these scenarios, but you have to take accountability because a relationship takes 2 to tango.
Yeah.
And your 50% that you're bringing to the table, if it's ignoring the unhealthy red flags, then
there's a part of you and a part of the situation that is allowing them to behave like that. That is a terrible thing to say. And once again, we are only talking about, the more general toxicity, right? Like, I don't want anyone to think that we're talking about like very extreme situations, because that's a whole different ballpark. We've on this podcast have talked about my relationship with a narcissist. And that's basically like what you were just talking about. Like, you just wanted to shake me because I wasn't standing up to him. I wasn't like, hey, this is not okay. I was enabling the behavior from him.
Did you know that you were enabling it?
I don't think I did at first. And I think that is what gets complicated with a like narcissistic person. At a certain point, I was like, this is not just on him. This is on me too. And I should have walked away a long time ago. I should have called him out a long time ago. I should have told him that he's doing all this fucked up shit a long time ago. And I didn't. So I did not help hold him accountable. I did not say that his behavior was bad and I did not walk away. So I allowed for that behavior to some extent. We have to take accountability for that. We can't always just say that, oh, it's only the other person. The other person's the only problem, because it's not true. As you are growing up and as you are in these relationships and like want a serious, healthy relationship, it's really fucking hard.
And that's the thing here is a lot of our listeners are people who have been harmed before and maybe have certain emotional speed bumps in relationships. When I say that, maybe it's that you like being treated poorly. Maybe it's that you like the toxicity. In these scenarios, I think a lot of it is like not believing that you deserve better. And so you're okay with being treated poorly, or it's just, oh, it's fine. Like maybe I won't find anybody better, or my baggage is too heavy to carry, but at least this person's carrying a little bit of it right now, even if they're not treating me very well. And a lot of times when one of my relationships in my life is not healthy, I think about it if it were in a different scenario. So like what I mean by that is if a friend is treating me really unhealthily, I think, would I ever put up with that if they were my boyfriend or my significant other? And a lot of times it's like, fuck no. If my significant other was treating me poorly, I think, would I ever put up with something like this in a work setting? Fuck no, I wouldn't. And when you put it in a different context, it's much easier to realize what you're actually okay with and what you're not okay with.
I wanted to go back to something you just said. This notion of not thinking you deserve better. That is so common amongst trauma survivors. For some weird reason, we think that because we were violated, we were assaulted, that we just deserve to be treated like shit in our relationships. Isn't that crazy? And it makes no sense. I think if you're actually a fucking bad person who has done terrible things to people, that makes sense if you sit there and think, wow, I have done all these horrible things. Yeah, maybe I just don't deserve to be treated well. That makes sense. But to sit here and be like, I had something god awfully terrible happen to me. Therefore, to me.
Yeah.
Therefore, I don't deserve to be happy. I don't deserve to have someone who's going to make me feel safe and loved and cared for. I just deserve to be in a toxic or abusive relationship.
Have you heard that thing where you take, so if I give you an $100 bill and then I threw it on the ground and I stomped on it and I like rolled it around in dirt, would you still want the $100 bill?
Yeah.
You are an $100 bill and then somebody came along and sexually assaulted you and threw you on the ground and like rolled you around in dirt, and you're still in a $100 bill. You're just like, a little crumpled up. But that's the thing. It's all of a sudden we act like our value is reduced because somebody violated us. That's not the case at all. And a lot of times also, it's not just one person violating you. It's your father never loved you properly, or your mom always wanted you to amount to something that you never felt like you could reach. And there's so many other layers to that. But like at the end of the day, I think a lot about how freaking awesome am I? Like how many times do you sit there and think, I'm awesome? Like we interviewed somebody last week, and in our initial meeting with her, she was saying, I'm fucking awesome. Everybody who gets a chance to be with me, like I know that I'm giving them a good experience, that this is not just a blessed experience for me, but also for them. And when you first hear someone say, I'm fucking awesome, it's like, cocky.
You're a cocky little prick. Yeah.
But how many times do you sit there and say, I'm awesome? Yeah, I've been a little bit damaged. I'm a little bit bent, a little bit dirty, but it doesn't take away all of this value.
That's a good connection to make, that when you have something bad done to you, done to your body, your self-worth diminishes for some reason. I think that there's a lot of blame and shame that go into it, and you spend so much time blaming yourself and being mad at yourself for like, oh, well, if I just did something differently, or, if I didn't drink, or you just create all these things in your head for why it's your fault. And I think that tears down at your self-worth, but then also you feel dirty. I think you've talked about this, you get in the shower and you want to scrub your skin off.
Yeah. And you've talked about that too.
Yeah. And you don't know what to do with those feelings, and you feel you just like kind of feel disgusting, which I hate saying that, but it's true. And so then that just like plays into your self-worth. And then I think because of that, you feel like you're worthless to other people as well. And so if someone comes along and you're in this relationship and they treat you like dirt, you're like, well, I already am dirt. So
Well, yeah, how much easier is it to just settle? When you actually think about it, it's not easier to settle because of the emotional toll it takes and what it can suck away from your relationships and your job and taking care of yourself and all these different things. But when you're in those moments, like, how much easier is it to just be like, yeah, I'm small, I don't deserve this, like, let me just stay.
like, you've dug yourself this hole and now you're gonna just sit in it and be like, yeah, this hole, it's totally fine, it's dark, but I'm here. I've made myself a nice comfortable dirt patch to sit on.
It's a little cold.
It's a little cold, it's a little lonely, but I'm fine. It's fine. Everything is fine.
Versus, I'm going to try to crawl out of this hole and away from this and have to face everything, because that's what it is too, is
you're hiding.
Yeah, you're gathering these little data points of, oh, these red flags are there, oh, I don't really feel like I deserve to be loved, but oh, I'm just gonna like put it in the back, it's not really here. But if you actually have to sit there and look at yourself in the mirror and say, I'm fucking awesome, I don't deserve this, and I'm in this shitty situation, I have to get out and deal with all of this, that's hard.
Yeah,
that's
it's
scary.
Hard. You have to make a big change, and it's so inconvenient. It is so inconvenient to pull yourself out of that and then break up with that person and then have to face all the shit that you put on the back burner because you just did not want to deal with it. That's inconvenient. It is so difficult to do.
Not
that.
on the Google Calendar.
You can't time block this shit, okay? But that's what needs to be done. As someone who has been in these bad situations and has also been in good relationships and has learned that I do have self-worth and I do deserve to be treated well, and that settling is a huge thing that sometimes we don't realize we're doing. Here's a little trick. If you feel at all lonely in your relationship, then you're settling. And it is so much better to be single than to be alone in a relationship. Hands down.
I really like that. If you feel lonely in your relationship, then you're settling. You should feel better in your relationship. Like, you should feel like a team. You should feel like the person you're with makes you a better person. You should feel like they motivate you, like they build you up, like you have a companion that you can do life with. Like, that's what a relationship is with somebody. It's like you're going about life and someone just comes along with you and you figure it out together.
But they don't fix you.
Yeah, no, not fix you, but
they don't complete you.
No, that's very good.
They're a welcomed addition. You're complete and you're full on your own. You're going through a healing journey. You have that together. This person comes in. They're like a fun little add-on. They, bring you some happiness. They bring you some support that you can't get in yourself. And that's great. But you could do it on your own.
You could. Yes, but it's a weird distinction because it's like they're not completing you, but they're not just like an accessory either.
Right. It's not like a nice purse.
No, it's not a purse. Because I think about like my relationship and I think, I could do all these things, but it's so much better with this person. And it's better because they have a different perspective. It's better because they can cheer me on. It's better because like it's literally a teammate.
Yeah.
A homie.
Oh my God. Okay, wait.
Same team.
There's this comedian.
There's a lot of them.
But he has done this, what do you call it when they do a show?
A special?
Thank you. He has a special.
Oh my God, it's a he. Oh.
He has a special.
What male comedian are you watching, Lauren?
His name is Daniel Sloss. I think he will like tackle social issues in a funny way that's also constructive. Do you get what I'm saying?
I like that.
But he has a special and it's called Jigsaw. And it really was just him making fun of relationships and this idea that you need to find this one person who's going to complete you and blah, 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 blah. And he weaves this into this entire special. People started reaching out to him after this special saying that it made them realize that they were completely settling in their relationship. And apparently this comedic special has ended thousands of relationships, marriages, like all. It is like this crazy phenomenon that's been happening when people watch this. He makes fun of how people just settle into these relationships, and he does it in a way that is so brilliant and funny. And if you're in one of those situations, it'll hit you like a motherfucker. And so he literally has people reaching out to him all the time being like, I broke up with my boyfriend. I broke up with my girlfriend. I ended this relationship because I realized that I was settling. I wasn't fulfilled, all these things. So if you're out there and you're someone who is like kind of been on the fence about your relationship, you're not really sure about it. Honestly, if you're just in a relationship and you've questioned it once, go watch this special. Okay. It's called Jigsaw by Daniel Sloss, and see if your relationship makes it through.
Lauren's like, now I'm breaking up with my boyfriend. Oh, well.
No, I actually watched it with him.
Oh, okay, that's good. So you survived it. I love when comedians tackle things like that. And that's really funny, too, that was not his intention.
No, not at all.
I'm sure he's gotten a lot of angry emails, too.
Well, it's not his fault.
I know, but
like
that's funny.
If they broke up with someone, you're saying people who like got broken up with.
Yeah, like, hey, fuck you. You ruined my marriage.
But it seems like a lot of people watched it without their spouse or without their partner and then went and did it. So I don't think those people know that they got broken up with because of this like special.
This comedian.
Yeah.
Is it on Netflix?
Yeah, it is on Netflix.
Daniel Sloss.
Yeah.
Puzzle.
Jigsaw.
I
know I said puzzle. Jigsaw.
Speaking
of relationships and weird things that we do as survivors, I guess they're not weird.
Just natural inclinations.
But they feel weird sometimes. Sometimes you're like, why am I doing this? But then you realize it's not weird because all the other survivors out there are doing it too. Shannon and I have talked a lot about this idea of latching on to partners post-assault. And what I mean by this is maybe you're hooking up with someone, maybe you're in a relationship with someone, and then you get assaulted.
Boom.
By someone else, not the same person.
Boom, assault.
And then after that, you latch onto that person that you were in whatever situation with prior to the assault. And I was thinking about this because my mom, this is so weird because me and my mom never talk about relationship stuff. She's great, but my mom asked me, she was like, hey, do you ever think that you got so latched onto Clayton?
We're just calling him Clayton. That's not his
actual name. Because he was the guy you were with before you got assaulted. And like, do you think you latch onto the innocence that you felt you had before you were assaulted? That was a wild thing for my mother to say.
So she's not, yeah, that really is. So she wasn't asking, oh, did you latch onto him because you felt safe with him? Did you latch onto him because he represented the person you were prior to your assault?
Pretty much.
Okay.
Because we've talked about this idea, like you are a different person before you were assaulted than after you were assaulted. You just are. And you can't ever really go back to that person. I think you can rebuild parts of yourself, but you're never going to go back to who that person fully was. So it's like, maybe you like spending time with a person that reminds you of that person that you were, and that makes you feel good in some sort of way.
What did you say?
I said no. It's like, Mom, what are you talking about?
Was that an honest answer, or was that just like you deflecting?
That was an honest answer. I think because the fact that she was like, do you think you latched onto that innocence you felt before? I was like, I don't think that I do. I think that maybe there is that sense of wanting to be back to when you're 17 and you don't have all these responsibilities and, you're just getting out of high school and everything is so new and exciting. And then to have the world come and hit you in the fucking face the first semester that you leave home. I think that makes sense. That makes sense to kind of want to go back to that place and want to go back to feeling like you're that person again who feels like they can do anything and the world is their oyster and they're so excited, which I still am. I still hold all those things, but it was diminished for a long time.
Right.
And, you kind of get this fear instilled in you when something bad happens like that. And so you want to hold on to everything that you possibly can that reminds you of that person you were before, especially while you're like going through it and going through the healing processes or going through a court process or whatever it is you're dealing with. All you want to do is just hold on to that before moment, those before times.
I don't know if I feel a sense of holding on to who I was before. I think like I mourn that loss in a way. I think my attachment to the person that I first slept with after my assault was not a sense of trying to hold on to my innocence, but I do think that it was a sense of this person already knows about my assault. They knew about it basically right after it happened, and they're treating me with lots of like gentleness and care in the physical sense. And so I don't have to try and explain anything that I've been through to a new person. Like I can just keep latching on to this person because they know all of it from the beginning. And like they saw the raw emotions, like they're literally there from day one of my healing process. Also, it was a sense of safety thing. So they're treating me with care in physical settings, but also they feel safe because they know about it.
It was easy. It was easier to stay with that person because you knew that if you like walked away, let that person go, started something with a new person, then you had to re-explain yourself, re-explain your trauma, re-explain everything that you went through. And that felt in itself probably really unsafe.
Yeah. Well, just to paint a nice clear picture. So I was sexually assaulted. I don't know if it was a Friday or a Saturday. I think it might have been a Friday. Can't remember. But it was in the middle of the night. And this person, I need to have a name for them. We're calling him Shaggy Boy. That's his pseudonym. Yes. So I was...
Certainly isn't his real name.
Yeah, certainly is not his real name. Yeah. So I was sexually assaulted in like the middle of the night, basically. And him and I weren't even that close. Like, it was my first semester of college as well. And he had seen my location on Snapchat in the middle of the night at the hospital. And later I learned that he said that he just knew, he just had this feeling that I was like sexually assaulted, which is very interesting and seems like an interesting thing of the universe, whatever you want to. Yeah.
It is weird, especially because, you know, a freshman college boy probably isn't going to be super in tune with that shit unless they've been through it themselves.
And him and I weren't even really that close, but then he Snapchatted me and just said, "Are you okay?" And I just said like, "Oh, I'll talk to you about it next week." "No, I'm not. I'm kind of okay, but not really." And then the next day when I saw him, he brought me this bright bouquet of these orange flowers. Like, they had been dyed. They weren't orange flowers naturally. They had definitely been dyed type of bright orange. And he handed them to me and he said, "I don't know what kind of flowers you like. I didn't know what flowers to get. I didn't really know what to get you, but I just knew that these would bring you joy. And so I brought them for you." And he gave me this hug and this like big embrace of a hug. And I just remember feeling like, oh, I could be okay. And I recognize that a lot of people don't get that experience from a man after being sexually assaulted.
Yeah.
Most of the time, nothing like that. But it was this first sense of, you know, oh, like I really did feel okay in those moments. I felt like he was handling this with care in a time where I didn't know how to handle anything. And after that, like, I felt very emotionally safe with him, very physically safe with him. It's funny because over time, it actually became one of the most unhealthy situations that I've ever been in. But it started as this like incredibly healthy attachment. At least I felt like it was healthy because I felt like him basically loving me was going to fix the pain that I had experienced.
And you just wanted to latch onto that for as long as you could. And you probably latched onto that a little bit too long.
What?
Which is why
3 years? What?
You know, it probably became a little bit unhealthy and not so great. But that makes sense. Because if you have felt so unsafe and so violated, and then you so quickly find someone who brings you the opposite feelings of like, you feel so safe with them, you're just going to want to hold on to that. And
forever.
Looking back on that situation, having had that experience of safety with physical intimacy, I don't want to say like, do you regret that? But do you think that it was actually maybe overall a positive thing for you to experience?
I do.
Yeah.
I do think it was positive. And ultimately I ended up becoming more like hypersexual because I felt safe with him. Like, I didn't have a general fear of men after my assault. Like, I definitely went the direction of trying to like recreate the scenario and have control basically. And, you know, I definitely just think I became hypersexual, but I think because of the safetiness that I felt in Shaggy Boy, I think it saved me from going down the deep end of never trusting a man ever again.
Interesting.
So I definitely would have changed how long I held on. And also I ended up starting to treat him really horribly at the end too. Like, it was just overall a toxic situation, but I wouldn't change it and I wouldn't take it away. Talk to us, like, paint a clear picture of your connection with Clayton. Like, how did that happen? How did that take place? And why were you still attached to him?
Yeah. I mean, I think we've talked about this before, but I was dating him in high school. I went off to school, and then that was when I was assaulted. And then I came back home. He came back home over winter break, and I was hurting a lot, but I didn't know why. Like, I really had no idea what had happened to me until the spring, but he knew I was hurting and he knew that there was something wrong, and I just couldn't really figure it out, and I felt really lost. And so I actually ended up breaking up with him because I just was like fucking wreck in so many ways. But then a few weeks after that, we got back together, and then I had to go back to school, and then he came and visited me, and I was like, I need to leave school. I can't be here anymore. Get me out of here. He drove with me back to California. I think I really latched onto him during that time, especially because it feels like he's the one that pulled me out. Does that make sense?
Pulled you out of you feeling stuck at college?
Yeah.
Okay.
And he like physically pulled me out and like brought me home.
So he, in a way, physically saved you from what felt like your revolving door of hell.
Yes.
Okay.
Like he was the one that was like, you're not okay. You need to do something about it. Kind of was more proactive than I was. I think that when I was with him, I felt like I could get through anything.
In the sense of a crutch, or because he provided a safe space for you to heal, or?
I think all of the above. Okay. Like, I think that I leaned on him too much. And then that ended up being really bad for our relationship. I don't think that was something he could handle. But I think that that general idea of if someone makes you feel safe during that time, like Shaggy Boy did with you, you just want to hold on to that for as long as you possibly can. But that doesn't end well. It didn't end well for me. It didn't end well for you.
Horribly.
Yeah, it does not end well, because there are so many things that have been intertwined into these dynamics that really were just rooted in, hey, you need to heal, and no one else is going to heal you.
And that's exactly kind of how we started this conversation of like, your partner does not complete you. They do not fix you. They are not here to fill the holes that you have from all of your traumas. There was this time where Shaggy Boy and we were at school in the same location, and we were in like a bad spot. Like the ultimate story with him and I was a lot of just ups and downs, and like I would date other people and he just wanted to be with me, and I was like, no, I cannot be with you, but I must have you around all the time to be my crutch whenever I actually need you, which was so unfair and so unhealthy and horrible to this man. But alas, I digress. I was hooking up with this new guy, and it was my first time hooking up with him, and I ended up having a horrible, horrible flashback. And I was just telling Lauren before this that sometimes you think, was it a flashback or was I actually just getting sexually assaulted?
That is the question.
Jury is still out on that one. But anyways,
it's not funny, but
it's not funny, but it really, like, I don't know. My assault was still pretty fresh at this point. I mean, it had been maybe a year, but I hadn't really slept with that many people outside of Shaggy Boy, who I felt really safe with. And I had a horrible flashback. I kicked the guy out. And at this point in time, Shaggy Boy and I were not talking. We really weren't texting. We had broken things off for what felt like was going to be the last time. I was having this horrible emotional response to whatever just happened. And I was just breaking down on all ends. And I just thought, like, I have to have Shaggy Boy with me. Like, he has to be here. I will not be okay if he is not here with how I feel. Like, I literally will die if he's not here. And I was texting him and calling and texting, and he wasn't answering because we weren't talking, and because my suffering was not his responsibility in that moment. But I truly felt that I would not make it if he were not there. I felt this sense of betrayal afterwards of, how dare he not be there to put my pieces back together? How dare he do that to me? And all of this is to demonstrate, how big the attachment was. But I realize now in time that it is okay to let that person pick your pieces up after your assault and end it there. Like, it is okay if your safe person was just meant to be your safe person for a month after your assault and walk away. And it is so scary to let go of that safe person, because once again, it will feel like you will not live without them, or you don't know how to be in a relationship with anybody else or physically connect with anybody else. But sometimes those safe people are just meant to be there for a season. Their job might have just been to make you feel safe temporarily.
And to show you that you can feel safe with other people. I think that's a huge thing too, is that there's this sense of, I am never going to feel safe and comfortable around a guy ever again. And that can really weigh on you. But if you have that experience like that, it shows you, okay, hold on, I can feel safe around a guy again. It's not going to be this guy forever, But he has showed me that that is possible. And I think that's actually really important for healing too. But of course, it's really easy to just like want to ride that pony as long as you can.
As long as you can, yeah.
But it also makes sense that you had that reaction when you went through something bad again and you were like, I need him now, because he was there after your assault.
Yeah.
To like kind of pick up those pieces and make you feel safe. And so when you were feeling really bad, you were like, the only way that I can get through this is if he is there. And I think that anxious attachment style that we build with people after stuff like this, because it feels like a survival mechanism.
Yeah. But it is not somebody else's job to fix you after this. And that's the thing is that we started this conversation with is your partner's job is not to fix you. It is not to put your pieces back together. It is not to fill the holes that have been created by the trauma in your life. Like their job is to be a teammate and a partner and a cheerleader and to provide joy for you and all these other things that are not fixing you, especially if you're with somebody after assault. Like their job is not to fix you. And wouldn't it be nice if it were? Like, wouldn't it be nice if you could just take your pain and give it to someone else and be like, hold this for me, fix this, and like I'm just going to keep you around until everything's all buttoned up again. Unfortunately, you cannot do that.
Gotta own your shit. You do. No one else is gonna fix it. No one else is gonna make you feel better. They might make you feel better, but it's gonna be temporary.
I think a lot about how sour and how horrible things got for me with this man that I had this dependency on. Like, I wish I would have stopped it so I didn't turn sour. I wish I could have prevented the person that made me feel so safe and maybe kept me light years, like pushed me light years ahead in my healing process in ways that I didn't even understand. I wish that I could have just kept it there.
I know, but now it's just been tarnished.
Yeah.
And that sucks.
Yeah. I also think that it's okay to let yourself feel safe with somebody new eventually. Like that's another thing too. Like I think I felt a sense of guilt once I started to feel safe with my current partner. Felt like I had, you know, created this whole tumultuous situation with this one person that made me feel safe. And like, oh, he's the only one that will ever make me feel safe. And then one day I started to feel okay with somebody else. And I felt like guilty for feeling safe with somebody else. Like my new partner wasn't there the day after I was raped. Like he wasn't there when I was broken into a million pieces.
That's probably why it's healthy. Well, it's not why. It's one of the reasons why. Because this person has made you feel safe and you're not latching onto them with dear life, knowing that if they leave or if they don't show up when you need it the most, that it's going to go to shit.
Yeah.
Right? Like there isn't that anxious attachment style you have with your current partner because you have gone through all this healing and you've done all this work to be where you are now. And then you started this relationship and they helped you feel safe and they helped you feel loved and cared for. And it wasn't built off of, if I don't have you here, I will not survive. A dynamic like that is never going to survive.
It's
so that's
seasonal.
a good thing, and you shouldn't feel guilty about it.
Well, I don't feel guilty anymore, but like I still have so much love for this other person that made me feel safe and all of that. And I'm able to dissect the good things from the bad things. You know, it's a big attachment. Like it's a big thing for somebody to make you feel safe at a time when you felt so unsafe.
It is. It's a big deal.
Do you ever long for the person that you were before you were sexually assaulted?
I think maybe I did after the fact. And maybe the year after the assault happened, but I definitely don't anymore. I've grown so much. And although this entire situation was really terrible and traumatic, it has also shown my strength and resilience. And I feel better set up for life in a way, because I know that if things hit the fan, I'm going to be able to deal with it. And like, I'm going to be able to have grace and strength in that. And so I don't long for that person I was before. I appreciate the person I am a lot more. I'm a lot more confident in who I am. And this is, I think, is just like a common developmental growth thing. Like I just have learned so much and I've matured so much. And I think that a lot of that is attributed to, the court case and everything we went through. And I just learned how to handle things that felt like they could not be handled. And so now it's like, if I ever go through anything hard, I just remember that I went through that and that I can do it again. Not necessarily like the same situation again, but just a tough situation again. So I hold a lot of respect for myself and that person that I was throughout all of these times. What about you?
I feel like they're so far away. Like that other version of myself feels so distant that it's hard to really even remember what she was like. which can be good or bad, depending on your point of view. I don't know. So in a way, yes, I do long for that person because I don't even really know them, but I knew that I liked who I was. Like I knew I liked my life and enjoyed my life to a degree. But similar to you, it's just like this experience has put me on this path, and I would probably be better off had I never been raped and gone through a court case and all of this, but that's not who I am anymore. And so there's no point in me like longing and wishing for something that is no longer that.
Like we are who we are now and we can't go back. So there's no point in trying to feel a sense of longing for something that you know you can't have.
You know what I don't long for? I don't long for the suffering that I experienced right after my assault.
Oh yeah, never.
And like who you are, like right before your assault and right after. I mean, it could be a 24-hour period, and just that experience will change you drastically. That whole healing process was so painful, and I destroyed so many pieces of my life and like this relationship with this guy and all these things. And I do not long for that, which is remarkably close and far away to the person that I was right before I was assaulted.
No one wants that.
Fuck no.
Sayonara.
Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning into today's episode. If you want to contact us, learn a little bit more about us, check out some of our merch, you can go to whattheydon'tsay.com. You can send us a message directly through the website. If you want to follow us on socials, they are all What They Don't Say official. We love you guys so much. Thank you for being here. We hope you have a great rest of your week. We'll catch you on the flip side. Cheers.